How often have you taken work calls in the middle of a meal or while driving or when attending to your child? How often do you work well beyond office hours? Well, for most people, it happens almost every day. Today, the line between personal and professional life has blurred. Work from home knows no work-life balance. In many professions, work runs almost parallelly with our lives. Work calls follow us to our vacations, holidays, sick leaves. It is hard to pinpoint where work ends and life outside work begins. Today, whether working from home or outside, most of us are always on standby. And while some of us don't mind this, and a lot of us have gotten used to it, most of us can really do without it. In Europe, lawmakers have passed a resolution. They argue that every individual has the fundamental right to disconnect, meaning you should have the right to not reply to office calls or emails after working hours. You should not be judged or branded unprofessional for not joining Zoom meetings that are calendared well beyond office hours. Your sincerity should not be questioned for deciding to not work over weekends. Of course, there can be exceptions, but expecting an employee to work beyond office hours cannot become a norm. Well, it has become one, especially since a lot of us switched to work from home. The average work day of an employee working from home in Canada, the US, the UK and Austria has become longer by over 2 hours a day. Before the first lockdown, an average employee in the UK was spending 9 hours on business VPN or the business networks. By January 2021, the 9 hours increased to 11. In the US, workers were spending 11 hours on VPN instead of 8. In the Netherlands, 10 hours instead of 9. Same with Austria. In France, Italy and Spain, workers were spending 1 extra hour on business VPNs. A Microsoft survey found that most employees believe that their workload has increased significantly since they started working from home. 62% of team calls and meetings are unscheduled or conducted ad hoc. What about India? One report says Indian employees are working beyond 48 hours a week, well beyond the ILO norms. In situations like these, do we have no option but to put a legal stamp on the right to disconnect? Is it the only way to protect employees from being overworked? In 2017, France set strict work-from-home guidelines. In 2018, a pest control firm called Rentokil was fined for violating the rules. Ireland has introduced a code of conduct around the right to disconnect. Trade unions in the UK are demanding something similar. A majority of EU politicians back a legislation that calls on the European Commissioner to develop a bloc-wide directive on the right to disconnect. Its supporters cite work-life balance, and many ask, why should employees work for extra hours when they're paid for 7 of 9 hours of work? Studies have shown that giving employees more leisure time has reduced absenteeism. It has also increased their productivity. There's another school of thought that says the right to disconnect is not practical. We must factor in the difference in time zones and the need to always be on standby when signing up for an emergency service. So what's the solution? If hybrid is to be the future, we must find sustainable and smart solutions to balance work and life, even when working from home. Many companies already have. They're working towards it. One automaker reportedly does not allow employees to access their emails on their phone between 6:15 p.m. and 7 a.m. Where does India figure? The country takes pride in working extra hours, working over the weekend. It is seen as being professional, being more committed. The right to disconnect bill was introduced in India in 2018. It did not pass. In the last 3 years, though, there has been widespread awareness over mental health, about employee well-being. So here's hoping that that converts into employment policies. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.